Morning, afternoon and evening, my crazies. And my name's Angela and I'm the Crazy Poppy Lady, and I'd like to welcome you back to Throwback Friday. Right, so on to today's episode. We have got a video labelled How Crazy Is This Crazy? Now this video was questions that you'd put to me and I answered them. So at the end of the video I'm going to have to do a bit of a recap and change some of my answers. But here we go. Let's have a look and see what you think. I'd like to welcome you all to the very first episode of How Crazy Is This Crazy? This video is going to be filled with answers to your questions basically. On Whips and Bits number 16 I did ask if you had any questions for me that you would like to be included or that you'd like to know the answer to. So very first question in was from King Bamford, and her question was, do I have a large stash that's hidden all around my house? Or do I have a small stash that I can keep in one place? Or do I buy yarn for just the one project in mind? I've got a small one. When I first started out I would literally just buy the yarn for the project I had in mind, because I didn't know how crazy I would get into crochet and whether I would still be enjoying it after the first, second or third project. So I had gone out and bought some little stackable boxes, and I had one of those stackable boxes that had the yarn in that I was using and that I'd bought. So I'm going to pop a picture in, and that was my first yarn stash. So then of course as I got more involved I was really lucky because Aldi had a yarn event, so I went in and I only bought a few balls. I didn't go completely mad, not like I do now, but I bought a bit and it was mainly whites and whites so that I can make a job load of snowmen. So of course at this point my stash started growing slowly. Then I went on to Facebook's marketplace and came across a lady who was selling some yarn, and she was selling bundles of brands that I really didn't know anything about, because back then I knew nothing, absolutely nothing. I was working on my 3.5mm hook that I now use solely for my poppies. I only had one hook, and so I messaged her and I went and picked up the agreed amount. Now me and her had been talking over Messenger, so when I got there she invited me in for a cuppa and we were sitting there chatting. Then she invited me upstairs to see her yarn room, so off I've gone to have a look, because of course super nosy me. We've gone upstairs and oh my, this room was a dream and a curse all in one go. It was a dream because it had floor to ceiling cubed storage. Now they're the ones from IKEA, I think they're called Bully or Billy or something, but the massive cubes, and in each of those cubes she could get 30 100-gram balls of yarn. 30. And looking at it now, I'm sitting here doing the count, and the count, if I remember rightly, was something at least five cubes high and 7 cubes wide on each side of the room. And then she, of course, she had like a hanging rail which had all of the stuff that she'd made, absolutely beautiful pieces of clothing. And then she had her delivery boxes because she'd run out of room, and they were stacked a bit like sometimes Crystal at Bag a Day shows us the corner of her room where there's like a mass stack of boxes. Well, this lady's room was stacked like that, and she had stuff not everywhere, it was all organised. She knew exactly where every bit of wool was, but there was just so much of it. It was like, instead of saying you take a kid to a candy shop, it it was like me stepping into a Hershey's factory and being told I could eat and touch and do whatever I wanted with all of the chocolate. It was just immense. So, and she's there and she was saying how that she was slowly sorting through all her yarn, so she was going to be putting more up because she wanted to reduce the amount that she had, because she was never going to get through it all and she'd had to put herself on a forced ban for at least a year. And I sort of looked at her with a big fat grin and went, I can come and help you sort that if you want. I like sorting, I do. And she looked at me and she looked at the room and she's like, are you really sure? It's a big ask. And I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. And she's like, well, why would you want to? And I said, well, the amount of different brands you've got here and thicknesses and everything. I said, as we're working, I can ask you questions about hook sizes and everything else. And it also meant that I could get my hands on all that squidgy yarn. And then I would know straight off, basically, if I like the feel of a certain brand or not. Then I could put that to one side, write it down and say, I'm never buying that. I'm not wasting my money on it. And so, bless her, she was like, okay then, we'll give it a go. We'll arrange a day where we're both free for a couple of hours and we'll have a go at it. And we're both looking at the room as she's saying a couple of hours and we're like, it's going to take more than that, isn't it? Well, anyway, I popped back a couple of times to give her a hand and we did actually manage to sort it all out. And she then turned around and told me that she thought I might be a bit OCD because I was putting every brand, like all the brands in line and all the colours in sort of rainbow order, and it looked a lot neater than what I have behind me. But by doing that and by helping her out, she also helped me to learn the different textures and the different weights of the yarns, so it's helped me out immensely. And I also got to feel different cottons, merino, and that's when I also found out that I was allergic to wool. Right, so I think that's really the only yarn that I haven't got round to showing you, because I basically bought quite a bit from her in the end. I got a massive box load and a bin bag, and I managed to squidge it in my car and get it home. I just didn't manage to sneak it through the door. But at this point I had learned how to hide yarn from my husband. It's called put it under the mattress of the bed, because we've got one of them lift up beds, so that was sort of filling up really nicely. And at that point as well, this room hadn't been sorted, so it didn't have any yarn anywhere. So he hadn't noticed until I walked in with that big box and bin bag. So the rest of my stash, you guys can all get to have a nose through if you pop on to the old stash videos. Right, the next question up is from Cynthia May, and she asked, what hidden talents do I have? Like singing? No. Playing piano? No, I can't get my head around musical instruments or anything like that. How long have I been crocheting now? I had to look back on this one. I started crocheting around September, October 2018. Now I know that's not been a mega amount of time, but I have got an earlier video which I'll try and remember to put a link to, that actually shows you some of the projects that I'd done over say 2018-19 and onwards. So it shows you the sort of things that I was making right from the start onwards. I'm sort of a little bit arty, as in if I've got a paint by numbers or something with really clear instructions and lines to do and to work between, then normally I'm pretty okay, which is where I think I'm so thankful that I came across YouTube right at the beginning to sort of give me a bit of a kick from some of the girls when it came to making some of the products. Right, next one up is from my Michelle Tui. Sorry, I've probably said your name wrong again, and right, but her question was, what's my favourite yarn and a yarn colour? And then a little bit about Liam. I'm still exploring my favourite yarns. At the moment, the way I see it is, and the yarn I like the most is normally the one I'm working with, especially if it's nice and soft and cheap. And as for yarn colours, my favourite colour is normally a green, because it sort of reminds me of grass and sort of walking in grass barefoot and things like that. But I've noticed as I'm getting more and more yarns in, different days are different colour combinations. One day I will like extremely bright crazy, and the next day it's just calm and cool colours, and then another day it's something else, and it really is individual to the cake and the item normally that I'm making at that point. If I start making something and I don't like the colour, then I stop, rip it back and pick something else. Right, and the next question up is from Karen Collins, and she asks, what's my favourite weight of yarn that I like to work with, and what's my favourite hook? Right, so as I've stated on a few videos, my favourite hook is normally my 4mm. A favourite weight, I'm still playing, so I think I really like the smaller yarn, the thinner yarns for shawls, because it makes them more floaty, and definitely an Aran weight yarn for aragurumi, because then you get a bigger thing. Right, next one up is from Julie Hannaford. She'd like to know, if I'm not crocheting, what do I like to do as a family other than holidaying? Right, where to start? My kids are a lot older than most, so they actually enjoy amusement parks, sort of the Disney and the equivalent over here. So we normally go to those because my youngest is a mega daredevil. So her and her dad go on pretty much every ride. Now my eldest is off at uni now, so she doesn't get to join in on as many family adventures. But normally if we go somewhere like that, then the husband and youngest go off and hit all the rides, and I mean all the rides, and I'm the bag lady, because I can't go on many of them because I've got a dodgy back. So I normally end up finding the little arcadey place, or the arcade place I should say, and hit the 2p penny machines, or I'll sit and read whilst eating far too many donuts, and now I crochet instead, so it's just a case of, oh, I made this while I was at so and so place. And then the favourite thing to do with the eldest and the youngest is normally Comic-Con. We're a bit geeky like that. We like to do the older dressing up as the favourite character at the time, and then going off and exploring and buying lots and lots of rubbish. Okay, now Marbelle is hooked. I'm sorry if I've got your name wrong there, darling. You asked, do I have any siblings? Yes, I've got one of each. I've got a brother and a sister, both younger than me. And do they live anywhere near? No, which is a shame. They live in the southeast of the UK and I live in the southwest now. The majority of my family still all live in the southeast. My next one up is Karen Allen. She's wondering what kind of books do I like to read. I'm a bit of a sci-fi nut, so it's either sci-fi or vampire or werewolf or fantasy, really. They're my two mains. I don't like reading anything that's true life, because I would get too involved with the character, and no, I just can't do it. So Jan, I think my answer has definitely had to change on yours about how big is my stash. It's a big stash now. Okay, so the question changes weren't too bad. The last question that I need to modify is the one about the books that I like to read. Well, this last year I haven't picked up a single sci-fi book. Don't get me wrong, we listen to books in the car when we're driving here and everywhere, and we even listen to them to fall asleep to, but they're my husband's choice, and quite a lot of the time they're Terry Pratchett, because he knows I love Terry Pratchett. So if I have to pick up a book and I'm reading it, it seems to be crochet related now. You can't say I haven't got many of them. They're going to keep me going for at least the next 2 to 3 years. Right, so next video up is a Whips and Bits number 18. Right, so a quick catch up for this week. Videos that came out to you were last week's Whips Bits number 17, and then we had the happy mail from Ella at No Catchy Name. That one came in next, and then there was the very first episode of How Crazy Is This Crazy. Now in regards to that one, it's not had as many of you jump in to be nosy as I thought there would be, so I'm going to give it a couple more episodes, see how it goes down. If it doesn't, then it'll probably end up getting put in here as a little subsection, sort of just a question and answer thing. Next up, I have still got a few more videos in the pipeline for you that have already been uploaded to YouTube, and yes, I'm going to do it. The next one out, which will be in 2 days time, is the wall winder, just so that you guys can see it and it can go away. And then we've got a couple more after that. Now my main one at the moment is I have now started on the corner to corner unicorn blanket that was promised, the one that normally sits over this shoulder on the bed. So I've moved it so I can give you a bit of a closer look. Okay, so here we go. It is this one here. Hold on, save that. There we go. So it's quite a chunky project if you look at it in comparison to the little square. It makes the little cupcake look minute. Now that pattern has got 83 rows to it. So if you like unicorns and you like a challenge, and this one's going to be next for you. Now the amount of time it's taking between stages to record this, I know that as I progress with the rows, it's going to take longer to get it done. So at the moment I am sitting at a measly 10 rows, very measly 10 rows, but that section has been recorded already. I am going to aim to get up to 20 rows, and then ideally around the 1st or the 3rd of next month, because I'm still going to go odd numbers on the month, the 1st or the 3rd of next month, I'm going to release section 1, which will be the first 20 rows. But if there's some of you who really can't wait, what I'm planning to do is write up the pattern this evening. And right, so future videos coming out are going to be on the 27th, the 29th and the 31st of August. Right, so on my completed whips this week, we have got the guitar-ish thing that came out of the pattern book from Aldi's, which was the lost it. So the first one up is the guitar. I finally completed it. That is out of the pattern book that came with the Aldi's Fiesta pack, which you can see on an earlier unboxing. Again, this didn't have a lot of detail when it came to putting it together. It was a very basically written. Stitching itself's easy enough. The main pattern is easy, it's just sewing it together. So I have improvised, and I have a feeling that this won't stay in here. I think I might actually give it to Liam and see how long it takes for him to destroy. Put your bets in the comments below. Yep, so there we go. It should I should have done it green and just turned it into an avocado. Look, perfect avocado shape. But or even a rugby ball at the top. So there it is there. Right, you can go back there. Now my next one up was my cheeky frog. Here he is. How cool is he? I love him to bits. He's even got a couple of spots on the back. Now with this pattern came from the Happy Gurumi book that I received from Ella at No Catchy Name Crochet. Now it does say in the book to use felt, but of course I haven't got any, so I just did a couple of circles and then sewed them on and hoped for the best. They looked all right. From a distance they look fine. But the pattern he was actually made with the Aldi cotton, and it only took 25 grams of the green to make him, and I think I had about this much left, so I was playing yard chicken in the end, but not too badly. Now with the Aldi yarn, it is a lot thinner than the yarn, the cotton that they actually suggest to use in the book. So if you actually have that cotton and this book, your frog will be a bit bigger. But I dropped it down to using a 3mm hook and that cotton. So there he is. So he's going to be staying here until my bestie probably nicks him, because she's a fiend for frogs. Right, and my next whip is this one here. Can you guess what it is? I've got the parts minus some ears. I am actually now on to putting together the, there goes a bit, putting together the donkey out of the Fiesta pack. This pattern has actually been a heck of a lot easier to work out and to do than the llama. That was it. Yeah, the llama that I tried first off. The way they're joining the legs is exactly the same. So I am tempted just to strip the llama back and just redo it using this pattern, or some of the parts of this pattern, instead of using the stitches that it called for. Now I know a couple of you did actually suggest that in my video where I was slightly whinging. Apologies. Right, and next up I received some happy mail today. Now this is from one of my gorgeous crazies. She sent me an email. I'm not going to mention her name just in case, because I haven't asked. If she wants to be included, what I will do is when she pops a comment under the video, I will bring that up to the top so you can all find out who it is. But if she doesn't want to, I won't. Now what she did was she sent me an email after my last unboxing saying that she had an extra ball of one of the yarns that I have, and that she'd had it for a while but didn't really like the feel of it, and would I be interested in just receiving it. And I was like, oh, I would really love it, but I can't take for take's sake, that's not me. So I went through all of my yarns that I'd received and started organising my room, and anything that I only had like one ball of, I put to one side and took photos, sent her the photos and said choose. So she was a little bit shocked, so she's chosen one of the yarns, and so I'm sending that out to her at the moment, and that will hopefully be with her before this video lands. So here is her box that she sent me out. Now there is only meant to be one ball of wool in here. What have you done? It feels a lot more squidgy than one. Oh my god, you are stunning, honey. Ooh, you are in so much trouble, but nice trouble. Right, so that's right, I'm going a bit funny, just give me a moment. Right, here is the ball that we'd swapped out, which is the Dreamcatcher by Stylecraft, and it is, oh cripes, that shade. I will put it in the caption below. Brain has gone to sleep now. Well, not sleep, it's in excitement, jumping, and doesn't know what it's doing. There we go. So there we go. That is brilliant. That was the agreed on. She has been a sneaky toe rag, because she's also sent me oh wow, that is brilliant. 2 of the cedar Ella, and I think that's a cotton cotton. I've never actually had it before. So it is the Shimmer Luxe Cotton Blended DK. That is, it's got glitter running all the way through it. That's absolutely gorgeous. He was only supposed to send me the one, your toe rag. Right, these are 50 gram and it is 49% cotton, 48 acrylic and 3% polyester. I think that's the sparkly bit. I really need new glasses. It's a UK 8 on the needles, or a 4mm. And for crochet it is a 4mm or a USA, was it F? There we go. So she sent those two for me. They are beautiful. But she didn't stop there, did she? She's a toad. I love you. You will. I'm tempted to make you a frog, honey. Or choose. Right, so next she also sent me some ice yarn. I've only had one lot of ice and that came from my last unboxing. Oh my gosh, this one's, wow, that is soft. Wow. It feels like a cloud. Okay, this one is ice yarn. Crikey. And there we go. It is this one here. How cool is that? It's a gorgeous rainbow. It's super fluffy. I'm just trying to get to the details without destroying the label. Not that way. There we go. Right, this one is 48% acrylic. Or 40 something. And then 50... Oh gosh, my eyes. Right, give me a minute. I'm cheating. I knew this camera would come in handy. How to cheat at reading the label. Stick it under the camera and stick it on the telly. Right, so this one is 44% acrylic, 56% polyester. It's 50 grams. And there is 115 meters, and in brackets, give or take, 5%. They are 5mm knitting needles, or a US 8, and it is a 4 weight. And of course, I didn't take a photo, did I, the other end? It's a wash at 30, do not iron, do not tumble. Those are gorgeous, darling. They are so, it's so pretty. It's got a really cute little shimmer to it. Ooh, I'm going to have fun with those. So, there we go. And of course, I opened the box upside down so I couldn't sneak a peek. And she's also put in 2 hooks. You've got a 4mm in the pink and a 4.5 in an orange. Now they look really different. Ooh, I'm going to have to give them ones a go. Now, what I did also do was I'd opened the box upside down so I couldn't hoped I couldn't sneak a peek. And it also meant when I lifted it up to show you guys, there was no address label showing. So I've got a little letter here. So I'm just going to have a read and see what it says. I'll do it off camera just in case. I'm going to do a cheeky bit of reading from the letter, but not the whole thing. She says, this was the only box I could find and I couldn't possibly post it with gaps in. I've put a couple of ice yarns and the couple of cedar in, along with the style graph cake. I've also put in 2 crochet hooks for you to try. You may have seen them on Granny D's channel. I also have them. Lots of people seem to love them, but I don't get on with them. Maybe you will. My favourite hooks are still my normal ones. Right, so I'm not going to say who it is or anything else, but there is more to the letter and it is really, really cute. Thank you ever so much, darling. Just you wait, I'm getting you back, girl. Right, I've got your address, you can't escape. Right, on to the next item. Right, so I popped into my local high street the other day. It's only a little diddy thing. And popped into the pound shop. And they had 2 balls of wool on the shelf. 2. In vomit yellow. 2. So I didn't bother picking them up because it's not a shade or a colour I would use. It was a cross between vomit yellow, vomit, and newborn baby green. It was ugh. So while I was there, I actually picked up this little chalkboard. Now my daughter's has started saying I'm getting bored. Now she is an absolutely brilliant artist. She is the one that has done my little little badge for here with the flowing hair and the bits flying around and the poppies and stuff. She actually did that, so I thought I would take her back old school style. And I picked up the chalkboard. Within 3 minutes she'd knocked this up and said, that's all I'm doing for now. And I was like, but babe, I brought glitter. And she's like, no mother, no, we don't do old school. I do modern art. In other words, she sits drawing on a computer tablet. So I'm like, okay Lynn, but she still sat there, had a few minutes of fun. So I'll probably end up using that at a later point and putting, I don't know, some crazy comment on it or something to keep you entertained while you're sitting here listening to me gabble on. Right, I am going to head off now so I can get back on with that corner to corner, and I will see you all soon. So if you can, please stay in and definitely stay safe, and I'll see you all soon. Ta-ra for now. So it is time for a cheeky competition. What I'm going to do is I am typing up the pattern at the moment. So one of you will receive a copy of the pattern via email, like to your email account that you provide me with, and hopefully it'll be a PDF if I can work out how to do them. Now this is the very first pattern I will ever have written up. Wish me luck. But on top of that, it means that you get the first dibs at it, first go at it, and you never know, you may end up beating me to the punchline and finishing it first. So I'm going to run the competition from today, and I'm going to finish it at 9:30 AM GMT, which is Greenwich Mean Time, which is my time, on the 1st of September. And then after that point, I will then be picking a winner from these comments. Now, what I'm going to do is I am going to give you a word, which is basically unicorn. So if you manage to get unicorn into your comment, I'm going to use a random comment picker, and it's going to pick someone's name out. So have fun, enjoy. Right, so a little bit extra on some of those items that I showed you I'd completed. Of course, we had Captain Rippet. Now, Captain Rippet ended up having a Prince frog made, well, a bigger frog made that we've called Prince. He is sitting on the wardrobe above my head at the moment, facing above the computer, because he is going to my bestie. I decided she was not going to be nicking Captain Rippet. She is nicking the big frog instead. So I will pop in a picture here to show you the size difference between them. Then the next item I completed was, of course, a crazy guy. He is all done, and he normally sits up on the top shelf there because, of course, I need to keep him away from Liam, because Liam fell in love with him and decided to take him to bed. And yeah, if I leave him with him for too long, he will eat his legs off. And then, of course, I showed you the unicorn blanket, which was finally done, and the pattern is unicorn blanket #09. I think I wrote it in the top of the video as I was editing. That has been my most popular pattern to date so far, and I love seeing all of the images of all of your blankets and other items that you make. So remember, send me in a picture. I love them. Right, so now for an update on that beautiful yarn that was sent in the mystery box. Alright, I have made a gorgeous jumper with it. Now this one is a longer jumper than what I initially showed you in later videos. And I haven't quite finished it. I've still got to sew in some ends and do a couple of other little bits to it. But it's a bit too heavy and a bit too weighty now. We've got some warm weather, but give it a couple of weeks and it'll be back to cold, wet and rainy, and I'll be able to do it, fix it, finish it and wear it. So thank you ever so much. I got that yarn used. The green cotton yarn is sitting here on my shelf still. Now I'm still trying to find the perfect pattern for it, and as soon as I see the pattern, think, oh, that will work, it will get made up, and then I'll be able to show you what I have made with it. Right, now time to confuse you. I'm off to dish up my dinner. Right, I will see you all really soon, so if you can, please stay in and definitely stay safe, and ta-ra for now everybody. Good morning, afternoon and evening my crazies. Oh, my name's Anne. Can I cut it off? Now, an update on the Happy Mail. I did use that Stylecraft Dreamcatcher yarn. I have made a really gorgeous top with it. Sorry, a jumper. Thanks, Liam!